and Dr. Abhay. Both of them are senior consultant physicians with a vast experience in management of fever disorders. That first of all, look in your city, what is the prevalence of COVID-19? Is the positivity rate less than 5% or more than 10%? If it is less than 5%, use it like any other disease. Have a differential diagnosis. It may be COVID, it may be non-COVID. If it is more than 10%, take it for granted that the first diagnosis is COVID, and then you come back as an alternative diagnosis of other conditions. If it is between 5 and 10%, you may start seeing the patterns. You can start seeing the patterns. Number 3 is if you have a family developing all symptoms together, that within 48 hours, the whole family is developing symptoms. And if their symptoms are variable, and even if one family member has a typical loss of smell or loss of taste, take it for granted the all fever in the whole family is COVID. The other situation where fever comes in the family together is dengue, because malaria mosquito takes 1 feed every 3rd day, but dengue mosquito takes 3 feeds in a day. Therefore, 3 people getting in a family together disease will be either dengue, but in dengue you will not get variable symptoms. Symptoms will be the same. In corona, what we are getting is 5 members of the family, one having headache, one diarrhea, one sore throat, one fever, and another one having a teeth pain or a dental pain. So all variations may be there. If you have variations, think of COVID. And if you have no variation, think of dengue. If you have rigors, yes, think of malaria. If you have rigors, also think of urinary tract infection. But if you have a urinary pus cells with absent bacteria and culture, again, COVID cystitis comes into a differential diagnosis. If you have a virus with fever and diarrhea, yes, typhoid, dengue, and now COVID-19 comes into the differential diagnosis. Even food poisoning sometimes can have a fever lasting for a day. When it comes to management, yes, acute management, think of Nimesulide. If you still paracetamol, but if you feel paracetamol is not responding, Nimesulide, you don't want to take a chance, give a Nimesulide. Rapid reduction in fever can be given for 14 days, but sometimes you want it in the acute, for a management of a chronic headache with fever, naproxen. And when you enter longer term chronic fatigue syndrome or a chronic post-COVID manifestations, lasting a NSAID given for 3 months, think of indomethacin in that particular situation. Testing, the best testing is 6-minute walk test. Apart from that, have a urine examination and a CBC with ESR. And when you have resources, yes, go for ferritin, go for D-dimer, you can even go for IL-6, but remember both D-dimer and IL-6 require dedicated labs. They require to be done. Their lab errors can be very high in D-dimer if the sample is not processed within 1 hour, which usually happens when you send a D-dimer sample outside the lab for a test. So therefore, that has no practical use. Coming back to the RT-PCR test, yes, you have a rapid antigen test, but if you're going for a RT-PCR, ask for 2 antigen if positive, and ask for a CT value, and also ask for a cutoff value of that particular lab. And after RT-PCR, you can go for an antigen test. But if you're going for a total antigen antibody test for a COVID infection, you know that it may, because Indian government has not allowed IgM as a separate test, people have brought as a combination that may or may not help you. But definitely, if IgG test is positive, you know you have suffered from COVID in the past. So if you have a post-COVID illness, if you have a post-COVID-like illness, antibodies are positive. These people, you can safely give them NSAIDs for a longer period of time. I would like, before I close, I will ask Dr. Abhay Kumar Sahu to give us 5 take-home messages and 5 take-home messages from Mangesh, and then we sign off.
Yeah, thank you, sir. There are 5 things. Actually, COVID, once there is COVID number of cases has come down, we should be very much clear that malaria, typhoid, dengue, now the incidence is going to increase. So whenever a fever comes to us, we should keep all those things in mind. Second important thing is malaria which is quite prevalent in the rural part of India. One should keep in mind that only due to COVID, if you are not detecting malaria, most probably we are going to lose the patient, because without antimalarial, these people are not going to improve, and a lot of the people will develop cerebral malaria and they can die. Third important thing is, as Sir has told, if a person with COVID have increase in C-reactive protein, D-dimer, and ferritin combination, then definitely the prognosis is poor. And this we believe it is a rising trend is there. Then again, they have higher mortality is there. And fourth important thing is that if someone is having bilateral pneumonia, as Dr. Mangesh Teoskar has already discussed, if someone is having bilateral pneumonia, then it is more likely COVID pneumonia than the classical community acquired pneumonia, which is usually unilateral and usually having groundless appearance. And in chronic treatment of post-COVID fever or in chronic treatment of myalgia, paracetamol is having less help. And in that case, we can use other NSAIDs which will help, like indomethacin, naproxen, and for the short term, like 10 to 12 days, nimesulide can also be given. And if someone is having in the post-COVID phase, someone is on ventilator, someone has improved from the particularly some sort of lung injury, to prevent post-COVID lungs fibrosis, what classically is coming nowadays, we can give low-dose steroid for a few weeks. That will help them of prevention of fibrosis in those cases. Thank you.
Quickly, Mangesh.
Yeah, mostly Dr. Abhay has covered most of the things. So I'll just tell just a couple of things. Look at the good CBC whenever in a patient of fever and you find it confusing that what is the type of a fever. The classic investigation, a simple single investigation that you can call for is a CBC, and look for the WBC count, look for the neutrophils, look for the lymphocytes, look for the eosinophils, and look for the platelets. And they'll give you enough and adequate clue apart from the presence or absence of parasites on the smear or on the CBC. So CBC should never be missed in any of the cases. Number two, in a situation of COVID, please do not react to the investigations. Believe in your clinical acumen. So try to correlate investigations to the clinical scenario rather than chasing down the investigations and treating the patients according to investigations can be extremely dangerous. So look and assess your patient clinically first and then interpret the available investigations accordingly. Do not look at the investigations first and then assess the patient. That can be extremely risky. Number three, in a situation, those who can tolerate anti-inflammatories like nimesulide, one of the wonderful drugs, extremely nice, very effective. COVID is a treatable disease. COVID is a controllable disease, provided you are smart enough to pick it up. Number five is this, that drugs like remdesivir, drugs like Zumabs, drugs like steroids are there to help you. But remember that ultimately it is the patient's response which ultimately decides the outcome of the disease. Thank you.
I'm going to end by saying that whenever you have fever in this season, first ask what is the disease which is prevalent, and two, is it pyrexia or thermia? Pyrexia or thermia sometimes it will be difficult to differentiate. NSAIDs will work in both. Paracetamol will only work on pyrexia. It may not work on thermia. Yes, when you're choosing an NSAID, shorter acting, for a short duration, you have nimesulide. For a longer duration, you have naproxen and indomethacin, which can be used. That's all for today. Let me thank both Dr. Abhay and Dr. Mangesh to be here.